Hello, universe!
What up, everybody? Good evening again.
We are on episode 9 of the Thursday Exchange.
Ding,
We have a
ding.
really awesome episode for you guys tonight. February 25th, 2021. So we got a pretty interesting... Yeah, we have pretty interesting conversations to happen tonight. About basically stop talking and start doing.
Yep.
You know, you hear a lot of people that they're going to do this, they're going to do that, but they never actually make moves to make it happen. And this episode is to hopefully inspire and, light a spark under people's cheeks to get them to actually be motivated.
Go ahead.
I said, before we get too deep into that, we always start off with our topics of the week.
Yes, sir. Let me get my list up again. So
in celebration, Christians' tradition of Lent, an Ohio man gives up solid foods for the 46 days and is getting the majority of his subsistence through drinking beer.
Yeah, as long as it's a low alcohol content, you could technically do that.
And he's doing it for a good cause. He actually is putting up this basically a GoFundMe or a crowdfunding where he is recording his documentation throughout the month, and all the money is going towards businesses and bars that were affected during COVID-19.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he's actually done this for the past few years. So he's actually building kind of a track record with this in 2019 and 2020.
Alcoholic for a cause.
Yeah. And, not to make light of alcoholism, but he's doing it for a cause. And believe it or not, there is some pretty beneficial things happening. Over his past experiences, he lost 40 to 50 pounds, and his blood pressure and cholesterol has improved. So,
and believe it or not, I lived in Germany for a year as a cultural exchange student or whatever it is, but over there, non-alcoholic beers are much more common, and there's a lot more different varieties, and it's starting to come here a bit now, but it was like a Gatorade kind of drink over there for a lot of people. If they didn't want to drink alcohol and get dehydrated, they would drink a non-alcoholic beer, and it has all the amino acids, the D vitamins, and everything else that'll help replenish you after a workout.
Wow. Yeah, so
it's basically liquid bread.
You know what?
Made from bacteria poop.
I don't drink beer, so there's nothing remotely sexy to me about drinking beer, but people like it. People think it's delicious. I can't do it. It looks so refreshing, though. Like when I see a cold can of Coors Light in the summertime, that's the beer with like the mountains, right? That turn like
from Colorado.
Icy,
the one where the alcoholics go for a tour every single day with their little free beer ticket because they get 3 8-ounce glasses of beer at the end of the tour.
And it looks so delicious, but I'm the type of guy who my dad will be like, "Hey, you want a beer?" And I'll be like, "It looks refreshing." And
have you ever had a good one?
It's something about the taste of alcohol turns my stomach.
Well, it's a good thing, though. It's healthier for you.
I guess so. But, for this guy, he's lost 40 to 50 pounds each year he did this experiment. So
he also stopped eating.
Yeah. So in other news, the movie Silence of the Lambs, Buffalo Bill home is becoming a bed and breakfast. Would you stay there?
Probably for fun.
Yeah. I mean, it seems
is it a real it's just
no,
it's the movie or
it's based on the movie. I put the lotion on the skin. And they have
a new Silence of the Lambs series out now with an Australian actress actually that sounds straight out of the Midwest. Like you see her practicing her accent on one of the morning shows. I'm like,
Claire. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Clarice. You know what? I'm really interested to see what they do with that. At first, I was kind of like, a spin-off.
Another remake of a remake.
Well, people don't know this, but, the books are like a series. You got Silence of the Lambs, The Dragon, Hannibal. So there are more than one. However, when you kind of like mix up the production with different directors, you know, they had Anthony Hopkins for the first few, and they switch up the actors.
It's hard to beat.
It's hard to beat the classic, the original. Silence of the Lambs, when you watch it, like your hair on the back of your neck stand up. And everybody praises Anthony Hopkins for playing Hannibal Lecter, which they should. But honestly, the actor who portrays Buffalo Bill is pretty wild too.
Yes.
I feel like his performance was even more brave, in my opinion. I mean, wearing the woman's skin.
People we worked with over the years, he did a pretty good representation.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I would stay there, but it seems like a lot of fun.
Did you know he's actually from what I heard, he's in one of the prisons actually around here in New York?
Who?
Hannibal. Or the guy that he was based off of.
Oh, I thought he was a fictitious character, so I have no idea.
So did I, but I should probably look things up before saying it out loud.
To be honest though, like a lot of times fictional characters are actually based off of real people. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but Ed Gein was a serial killer. He used to dig up corpses and do make chandeliers out of the skin and bones and stuff. That character was based off of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I believe it took place in Ohio. Don't misquote me. However, Ed Gein is basically Leatherface, even though the guy never wore human skin masks and stuff like that I know of. But that person, real life person, they created the Texas Chainsaw Massacre out of. So I assume that some psycho out there, they created Hannibal.
Even if there wasn't today, just go back in history. You got the Donner Pass, you got crazy Viking berserkers who wear people's skin as capes. It's happened throughout history. But let's hope it stops.
In other news, a luxurious South Korean hotel has to apologize for having their sauna windows visible from the opposite side. So their mirrored windows were basically, take a look at me and my body.
Mommy, what's that hairy man's ass doing in the window?
Oh, God. Yeah, so they had to send out an apology. I mean, this weekend, my girlfriend and I are planning to stay at a hotel, and we're like, I hope that there's, not double-sided windows in our hotel room.
Well, you could just join all the people on freaking OnlyFans and whatever other broadcasting sites that are on the.
But there's so many scary movies out there where from the outside looking in, you don't know. Yeah, you don't know who's watching you. I think it was a movie called Vacancy. There's a movie called Vacancy where they're watching them in the rundown motel. We're not staying in a rundown motel, but I mean,
well, even the series Bates Motel, which they actually did a really good job with. I forget what the actor's name is, but the guy from The Good Doctor, or I think that's what's called. He's an autistic kid. He plays the guy from
exactly.
He did a really good job, but there's a scene there where it's the same thing. It's he's peeping through the windows at the thing. It's it's just not a nice feeling.
No, it's good. The reason why Bates Motel kind of creeped me out, beyond the fact of it being about American Psycho or Psycho in general, Norman Bates, there's a lot of incestuous type scenes, him laying beside his mom and getting mad at the mom's boyfriends.
Relationship to the extreme that borders on you need to stop. That whole thing.
Yeah, there was a lot of creepy scenes, especially in the bedroom, or the mom watching him get dressed, and it just
or where he turns into his mom.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they really were. That was another brave performance. However, very creepy to watch.
Yes, because he didn't make it look like somebody just trying on his mom's dress. He was he was Johnny Depp level crazy. So. Another story this week. We like to talk about our cat stories. A suspicious package was placed outside of a Chicago church. People are automatically, called the sheriff's department, had the bomb squad come out. Happens to be a cat and her 6 newborn kittens. It was a kitty bomb.
When the bomb squad showed up, they didn't hear ticking. they heard purring. So, but these felines were taken to basically the Animal Friends Humane Society, later to a nice foster family. So, yeah, they weren't put away. They got a little home, and it was not a bomb, which is very good.
Another odd animal story. It was a young kid who played a prank on his mom, and it went a little too far. I can only imagine, even for somebody who didn't hit their kid, they probably wanted to whoop his ass after this. He basically told his mom that he had a worm in his ear and couldn't get out, and she checked and she saw this like thin thing in his ear and thought it was like a brain worm or something, and that it must be eating his brain. And so she rushed him to the hospital and they had him admitted. And turns out the kid had stuck a piece of tape and rolled it up and stuck it into his ear in a way that it somehow looked like a worm, like the head of a worm coming out of his ear, and didn't tell his mom until they were on their way home.
Oh, man.
I would have killed him. Be like, eh.
I mean, we've all done screwed up shit to our parents.
Oh, yes.
Pranks and whatnot. I definitely, on April Fool's, I don't know what year it was, but I was young and dumb. I stayed over my cousin's house, and we turned the house into Home Alone. We thought that April Fool's was Home Alone, putting shit over the toilet seats so when people
That kid was my idol growing up.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess I was a mini little psycho myself.
Yeah, you can get in a lot of trouble with that kind of stuff. But
so the major stories this week, guys, we got a few. Andrew Cuomo now is being accused of sexual harassment by a former aide. Okay. This, it's a surprise. Apparently, the top female staffer normalized his behavior. Comments were thrown around. Let's play strip poker, apparently. You're better looking than my ex-girlfriend. When the staffer went in for a hug, he kissed her on the lips. Now, are they going to dig deeper?
Or is this hearsay character? I don't like Cuomo. Let me just say that right off the bat. But is it character assassination cancel culture, or is this stuff that they actually have proof of?
No, well, right now it's accused. There's an accuser. So right now, a lot of things that you're seeing in the media is people are being accused of these heinous crimes, these sexual acts, the inappropriate behavior. Whether they're true or not is one thing, but a lot of celebrities their careers have been cannonballed from these accusations.
Yeah.
So here's the discussion that I'm having with you right now. Where do we draw the line at what is appropriate and what's not? Now, we both know you have to we've all taken sexual harassment courses, and whatever workplace you are. Where do we draw the line? Like, for example, if I shake your hand, a little too firm, is that a form of harassment?
Well, how many times have you had that one person who likes to shake your hand just a little bit too long to assert whatever weird feeling they like, where they're just like, yeah, I'm like, okay.
I had a really weird. There was this guy, I didn't really know who he was, but he would always see me on the job when I was younger, and when he would see me at work, he would shake my hand. Where's the camera at? Shake my hand, and then kind of rub it a little.
Work his way up your arm,
and then hold it as we were talking,
and then let it go a little bit, and then when you go to pull away, holds it again.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
It's just fucking with your head.
That's creepy. But what I'm trying to get from this is that there's a lot of these, heinous acts, where people are coming out years later. And the reason why they did that is they were holding a job for years and they were terrified to say something because of people's power and stature. I mean, Andrew Cuomo, I would believe, is a pretty powerful guy. He's a guy if he snaps his finger, you can get a promotion or you can get fired. And simple as that. I'm sure he has.
Or plugs. You could get sent back to a nursing home.
You never know. Oh, that's screwed up. But I mean, with that said, you never know what these accusations truly are. It could be a disgruntled employee that, didn't like some of his moves during the
pandemic. And it could also be true. It could very well be.
Yeah, but it's an interesting conversation because as we move into the future, what will sexual harassment really look like? Will it be where we are going to end all physical contact in general just to avoid any accusation? Will all of our dialogues be recorded or be with a witness?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, if I was ever a political figure and I ever had money at expense, I would probably have 1 or 2 staffers around me at all times so that this type of accusation, whether it's true or not, could be founded. Because one way or another, it's hurting his reputation. And, you know, if this didn't happen... The problem is
they attack from years back when it wasn't at that point, and they can they can cherry pick.
Well, one of the things that was interesting about a lot of the articles going out is the fact that his own staffers normalized his behavior. For example, when this aide first started working with the governor, she claimed she was told by some of the head staffers, watch out for the governor. Like, you know, like not like watch out for your safety, but more like watch out, he likes the young ones type of thing. So, you know,
I've gotten friendly warnings that ended up being true at certain jobs before. They're like, just watch it back.
Be careful around the governor. That's the actual quote. But I mean, stuff like this, if people know and they're kind of hiding the behavior, they know that he's kind of a flirt, you know, horny old man syndrome. You know, that position of power is one thing. But I'm bringing this story up, and I thought it was a unique or very interesting story of the week because I've been seeing it everywhere now. Yeah. Where people are coming out with these accusations. And, you know, it's destroying careers. And is there truly any founded things? Well, what can we do in the future? What is the future going to look like?
Yeah,
for people in popular culture.
And there's another aspect about it. Like, one of the things that got me through this whole past year, you know, there's been many times where it's been an emotional up and down. And for me, laughter is something that always has an immediate impact on taking that feeling of stress or depression or whatever I'm dealing with at the time. So I quite often will turn to watching either a comedy movie or, you know, cracking a joke or listening to a stand-up comedian. And as a result of being stuck at home most of the time, I've had a chance to see quite a few of them. And you look at all the people over the years and you listen to the styles of comedy over the past, let's say, 10 years and how it's progressed and changed. And to the point where now a lot of comics are afraid to say anything. Yet historically, they've been the ones that have been like, there was literally a court jester to poke fun at the king. I mean, occasionally he went a little too far and got, you know, executed, but, you know, to poke fun at the king and everything and to call out the absurdity of situations in a way that made people laugh because it was so dumb. And you get rid of that, you start censoring everything. So I don't know, but that's just something that I don't get why we're doing that so much.
Yeah. You know what it is though? We're in a time now where the Me Too movement is extremely strong, and this is an important movement. Yeah. There's too many people in positions of power who have gotten away with practically rape, molestation, women in slavery, basically enslaved, sex slaves.
Every type of ism that's bad, basically.
You know, and they've gotten away with it because of money, power, stature. You know, you're going to lose your job if you talk against me. You're going to be blacklisted in the film community or in the political community. So it is a very important movement. However, there comes a circumstance too where you see these cases founded where people make accusations and they're proven to be false. And in those situations, just as bad as, you know, the other flip of the coin is if they did the crime, they should be penalized to the full extent of the law, in my opinion. If you make up false,
nearly destroy people.
Yeah, like if you make false accusations, and you're destroying someone's livelihood, career, you know, you should be punished to the full extent of the law. And that's not to say don't come out and say something.
It's libel and slander.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't come out and say something if it's true, but if you're trying to basically get a settlement, because James Franco, we all know him from Pineapple Express and the Spider-Man trilogy and a million other movies. Well, he just settled out of court for a sexual allegation.
Him too?
Now, oh yeah. So, in my opinion, if you're settling out of court, you're kind of guilty or you're afraid of that. And I've heard stories, I'm not going to name names, but I've heard stories of people that have worked in independent films with James Franco that he's extremely inappropriate. Is that true? I don't know. I hear he's got a extreme ego, but where he can, for example, I've heard stories with a makeup artist where like he physically grabbed her hand and like he was basically doing the makeup with her hand, with the brush in her hand, but like forcibly doing it. That's the rumor, the story I've heard.
Tom Cruise like flipping out on people for whatever.
Well, they got that recorded. He's got him flipping out.
Okay, good. I didn't actually see what he said.
To me, yeah, the whole Tom Cruise thing was to me a publicity stunt. He basically snapped on the crew for not following proper guidelines, which people are like, hey, he's a hero. There's a right and a wrong way to talk to people.
He's a cabal of people worshiping his every footstep.
He was speaking to a bunch of grown men who are professionals like children, in the rant I heard. And I like Tom Cruise's movies. I think he's talented. He's the actor in one of my favorite movies, Vanilla Sky. But at the same time, when you hear the rant of like, I'm on the phone every effing day with producers to make this possible. We're leading the industry through the COVID pandemic. And if I see that happen again, you're fired. Like that to me is showing like I'm so powerful and almighty.
Or like Rachel Ray, like everybody I've spoken to who's met her or gone to one of her shows, they're like, she's not nice, like at all. Like vicious to her damn assistants and stuff. And it's like,
well, they did the same thing with Ellen DeGeneres last year.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't want to say I believe people, but like people come across as these like, really charismatic, funny, flawless characters, but they're human beings at the end of the day.
And it's also their job to do that.
It's a great image. They have a big team behind them pushing their image out. But remember, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of allegations and stuff going out against people, but they got to be, you got to come with some truth. If you're just trying to make, get some backwater deals and stuff like that and, get a settlement outside of court because you don't want to go further with it, it's crazy.
Well, it's like you need to, even in medical settings, like you have to have a chaperone depending on which room you're going into. Like if you're a guy and you have to go and take care of a female patient, you don't go in without a chaperone because you don't know what that person could say. And that could destroy your career.
Oh, exactly. But it's a scary scenario. That's the thing we were talking about Cuomo just a minute ago. Where are we going in the future? How is it going to be like human touch? I mean, Biden, the president of the United States, just about 6 months or so ago, we were watching all these videos where he had to make a public apology saying, listen, I'm just a touchy guy and I'm not doing it in any other way other than the fact that I love children. I love people and I like the human connection. And honestly, as a person, I miss handshaking people. I miss hugging people.
Yeah.
Are the videos creepy as hell of him sniffing hair? I think they're taken out of. Are they taken out of context? Yeah, like I see a lot of like videos online, like he's a pedophile and all this stuff. I don't believe he's a pedophile, but I will say the videos are creepy as hell. They're just weird. But honestly, if you were in the public eye and someone was to record you 24/7, every little thing, thing you do, like you're walking in public and you squeeze your girl's tush accidentally or on purpose. Oh, you're a womanizer.
Accidentally say a curse word as you're walking into a church where I've done. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, like if you're in the public eye, you're gonna do some weird stuff. I mean, are the videos creepy to me when they put them in like people put them in slow motion with like romantic music as he's like. I mean, of course,
Bernie's sitting in the background like this.
Yeah, with the mittens on. But I'm saying, like, when you do stuff like that, you end up in circumstances where things get taken out of context. You end up doing a public apology. For example, a really funny one, has to do with this subject too, is Rudy Giuliani was in the Borat 2 movie. And they were playing a prank on him with a reporter. And for whatever reason, the reporter and him went into a room together. And she was kind of like, she was an actress, and she was trying to like seduce him, like talk to him in a kind of like a, flirtatious way. And there's a scene where Rudy Giuliani like lays on the bed, and he kind of like unzips his pants, like he starts undoing his pants, it looks like. And like she like Borat busts in the room and says, "That's my wife," and all this. It's like ridiculous. But they played a prank on Rudy Giuliani, and he was super offended by it because they made him look like a pervert, like he was trying to like whip out his dick or something. But the truth of the matter is, he claims, I was adjusting my pants and I didn't know she was like in the room or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is, things taken out of context sometimes can make you look real bad and then end up with allegations. Listen. All right. So next topic. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
You got just you go. Yeah. You go.
So there's actually we all know that we sent another like little robot critter to the moon, and or not the moon, Mars. I'm sorry, but one of the engineers, they made a message that was like encrypted into the back of it, and I think it says, if I'm not mistaken, "Dare to Dream." But it's pretty cool. He basically used binary code in the pattern that was like printed on the parachute itself of the landing vehicle, and he's like, yeah, he was quoted as saying like that it was super fun. I mean, I guess so. It's pretty cool though.
Yeah, you already know my opinion on this, and as we all should.
Everyone should know.
You all should know this. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with any of that shit. We got too much stuff going on.
Messages on parachutes?
No, with the going on to Mars, all that.
Oh.
Right now, we should be focusing on our people that
At least
live
it's
here.
a private company though, and not a full government program. Granted, it'll be eventually lead to that, of course, but
yeah, I guess. So it's kind of like that when we're talking about money. The people who really came out on top during this pandemic are the billionaires, okay? The biggest winners of the coronavirus pandemic were the billionaires. 500,000 people are dead. 28 million cases in America alone. Okay? $4.2 trillion is the combined wealth of America's 664 billionaires. Okay.
And meanwhile, our top story is to tally off how many thousands die on a daily basis rather than, using money for that. They just keep
I just said that they made $4.2 trillion. That's their collective income, right?
Yeah.
They've gained $1.3 trillion of their overall income over this 1 year in this pandemic. That's like a 1/4 increase. Okay. Think about that. So when you think about the struggling people and you're saying like businesses is really doing bad, it's not though.
We can't afford $15 an hour.
If you're Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, you're doing pretty good right now. Okay. And if people don't know who they are,
it's like the railroad and steel tycoons of the 19th century.
Yeah. You're thinking of Tesla. You're thinking of Microsoft. You're thinking of Amazon. You're thinking of Facebook, where we're streaming this right now. Now, the reason I'm saying this is there needs to be a push for small businesses. And, because a big majority of America isn't the Facebooks and, the Microsoft.
It's the gig economy.
They do hire a lot of people, but at the same time, there's a lot of other people that they're kind of getting wiped off the face of the earth, like Amazon. Not the bad. I use Amazon more than anyone. My book is on Amazon. I'm buying everything on Amazon.
Yep.
They're wiping out
Amazon
tons of small
account.
businesses.
I haven't started using it yet, but even I have an account, and I'm kind of like Amazon.
It's really tough. Like, you can't compete with someone that could, pretty much get you supplies from anywhere.
Well, even Google, like you think it's like a tiered level of who owns what on everything. It's like you have Google, which in a lot of ways is fantastic. What is the first thing you do a lot of times when you go on Google? is you look up Facebook or YouTube. So you're using one platform to get to another, They all link back to each other, and they basically control the entire messaging of whatever the frick they want.
Yeah, it's tough. And to add to that, here's like the creepy conspiracy. Anything you look at, anything you talk about, they're listening. When you type in something on one, server base here, chances are you're going to see it on your computer as an ad or whatnot. If I'm looking up, headphones, and you happen to be in the vicinity, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your computer, pull up your laptop, scroll through Facebook for a couple minutes, you're going to see headphones. Yep. Simple as that. So they know what your likes and dislikes are based on your search engine. And
I love how the menus are popping up now saying, agree or disagree to sell your information to us so that we can make your user experience better. Would you like to sell your data? No.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. It's an interesting circumstance, really. But we're gonna go on because we're kind of here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Tragic accident with Tiger Woods this week. Severe rollover car accident. Thank God he's alive. The doctors are saying he's awake, responsive, and recovering. However, he suffered significant leg damage. I mean, broken leg, foot, ankle, shattered. A lot of people are speculating, is this the end of his career? Will he recover?
Come back from worse, but they've also not come back from a lot less.
Yeah, I mean, he's at the stage of the game where, like, does Tiger Woods really have anything left to prove?
No, but I hope he gets better because
we know, we hope he gets better. But people are, it's kind of the most screwed up thing in the media when someone gets injured like that, and the first thing we're thinking about is like him getting back to work. It's kind of like when you see those snowstorms where like the car is like under 10 feet of snow, and like you see like the boss on the other line, like, you coming in, right? It's like the dude just got in a rollover car accident, and we're like, man.
Or getting yelled at on the way to work because you can't make it because you accidentally crashed your car when you hit a patch of ice. Been there, done that.
Exactly. So we wish Tiger Woods all the best and hope that, he recovers healthily. And we're going to keep an eye on this and let you guys know. And the last real issue I want to talk about is right now, we all know the stimmy. You know how I like to talk about the stimmy. There's a big minimum wage fight going on for a federal minimum wage. Okay. And I don't want to get too political, but I have to. We have to. Progressives want a $15 minimum wage. Okay.
Progressive group, because there's more than one.
Progressives. We're talking about the liberals, progressives. The Republicans plan to raise the minimum wage to $10, but have a contingency that businesses require to ensure workers' legality. Are you kidding me?
Wait. Say that again?
They want to have a $10 minimum wage, but it has to be insured by businesses that they're hiring legally, like they're hiring legal people. Are you kidding me? People cannot survive on $10 an hour. I don't care what state you're living on. And I'm tired of having this discussion with people and getting blasted because I'm going to fight back.
Trickle down, how it's
No.
It never gets there.
This is the topic that pisses me off about minimum wage. I hear this a lot, and if I'm offending you, too damn bad. I hear minimum wage is for minimum skill. I am going to ask you this from the bottom of my heart. Do you think it's easy to do some of the stuff they do? Now, you say, flipping a burger at McDonald's is easy. Have you ever worked in fast food?
Have you ever taken care of a nursing home patient as they lay there dying, holding your hand, crying?
Yeah, like
have you $14 an hour?
Exactly. These are the things I'm talking about. I hear a lot of people say minimum wage equals minimum skill. Now, that could be true on some aspect. However, I will tell you this. It's a lot of work. You're putting in the hours. You should have a living wage. Am I telling you, okay, shoot for the stars. You should be like making $100K a year doing that.
Why do you think they have the extra payments added onto unemployment? Because they're fully aware of the percentage style system And granted, it's an incentive-based system to get people back to work, and I understand why they do that. But the amount that they put out there so that you can live off of, compared to the inflated prices that we are dealing with on a daily basis, is why Walmart and all the other big guys had to step in and open their own basically sourced food banks for the government.
It's a damn shame. And the thing that really pisses me off about the entire concept of it is people say, well, if we raise the minimum wage, then we're going to lose jobs. We're going to cut jobs. These companies are making so much money. We just talked about that. We just had that conversation.
Yep.
The billionaires during this 1 year of pandemic, they've increased their salaries 1/4%. Okay. That's huge. 1/4. Okay. Of all their earnings increased in 1 year.
Yeah.
So you're trying to tell me they can't hire people at a fair wage that they could pay their bills, where they don't have to, like, another topic that, people say is, okay, America's doing good. They're hiring more people. Okay. So every Joe Schmo should have to work 3 full-time jobs to pay the rent. No, they should have to work 1 full-time job. And I'm not a fan of Bernie Sanders, but the one thing that, Bernie Sanders really pushed for is a living wage.
Yes.
He talked about, and a lot of stuff
if
he
you
says
increase it for one
sounds
group,
like free money.
It respectively for every
Yeah, like
single other.
it sounds like free money when he talks, but at the same time, you have to listen and say, listen, a fair wage, people getting paid to do, working, no one working 40 hours plus a week should be struggling to put food on the table.
Let alone rent like a box in the wall.
And nobody working 40 hours a week should not have health care.
Exactly. See, that's
the
other thing.
These are controversial topics, but should they
Yes.
really be controversial?
No, they shouldn't. Like, I lean liberal on a lot of the social issues, like in terms of healthcare and stuff like that. You know me, like, I'm not for one party or the other. I'm kind of in the middle in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
But the thing is that when it comes to those issues of taking care of your people, like, the way I look at it, and, if I'm wrong, sorry, but if you're going to have any kind of a community that you're in charge of, that you're responsible for the well-being of, if you put up a system that only benefits this much out of that many, and not even that much, you have that kind of a system set up, and then on top of that, you're taking this giant group, making them pay for their health care to deal with the stress-related and fatigue-related, depression-related issues that come along from working in jobs that suck their soul out for less than living wage. You're not doing your job.
And that's all I look for, a living wage. Now, people are going to you ever it's like that meme you see where there are kids reaching down at the basketball court, like the people who support the rich or the billionaires. Mm-hmm. They're like, hey, and they're all passing them by. That's what I feel like you're doing when you're saying, I'm against people making a living wage. And a lot of these people that say, I'm against these things, they take a lot of these socialized programs for granted that they experience every day. How many of us?
I've never had better health care than when I was unemployed.
But here's a little statistic, a little piece of information. How many of us went to public school K through 12? A lot of us have. A lot of people have. Is that not socialized education in a way?
Because it is, but it's supposed to do what it's doing.
Why is the first 4 years of college not a part of that? Because you can't get a living wage without really that. So there's some, maybe I'm getting too opinionated tonight.
Yeah,
but it's really pissing me off about the $15.
We are, but the thing is that when you mentioned the college thing, that's another symptom of the thing. Basically, you have all of these interest groups pushing for higher and higher thing, because in order for an economy that's based on debt cannot make more money unless it creates more debt to make up for the debt that it has to pay back. It's like a Ponzi scheme.
In a way, when you think about education, when you think about a $15 minimum wage, debt or no debt, it's an investment on your future, the education of your people. That's what I feel, personally.
If you go to an Ivy League school, then pay for whatever the hell you want. But if you're going to go to a community college or something like that, Granted, they are fairly affordable in comparison, but there's no reason that you should pay a full tuition and then have to pay another $2,000 just for the books that go along with that tuition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just everything gets tacked on. It's like we could complain about everything that is wrong in our country, and there's a lot of things that aren't wrong. There's a lot of things that are right here that we have, like the fact that we can even have this conversation and not be arrested for it, or to be opinionated and whatever. But the thing is that people just, I don't know. People need to wake up a little bit.
That's what it is. And this is why I'm talking, people. We've been saying this for a few weeks. We've been saying this since the election.
We've been kind of pussyfooting around it a bit.
Well, I'm not doing it no more. I'm going to be who I'm meant to be. Love me, hate me. I ride the middle, guys, because I keep them all accountable. And I have friends on both sides of the aisle. But when you're talking about living wages and you're hearing all these people like, fuck that guy. He gets a minimum. He doesn't deserve a living wage. He gets to basically you're telling him when you say $10 or mine, you should make less than $10 an hour. You're telling him his family shouldn't get to eat tonight. That's what you're saying.
And when you say that, okay, we're going to give the McDonald's guy $15 an hour, but you don't cause a ripple effect in raising wages for everybody else who works, the people who work in human services, who take care of your elderly, who take care of your families, who provide your medications at the counter, their wages don't change.
No.
How do you think they all feel when they look at you and go, oh, wait, so I now earn the same as a burger flipper after getting an education, getting a bachelor's, getting a certification and experience?
No, that's screwed up too. The cost of living should change. I mean, we're living in a time where the minimum wage hasn't went truly up in decades, really. It's went up pennies, okay? People that were working 15, 20 years ago are probably making a few dollars less on minimum wage than they're making right now. And the cost of living has went up through the roof. I mean, the only thing that hasn't changed drastically that people are impending to change by summer is the gas prices. People are waiting for the gas prices. I mean, conspiracy theorists or not, is when people remember the end of the second Bush reign into the Obama years, they remember
almost $4 a gallon.
Oh yeah, it was expensive. It was expensive. I think it was $4 plus a gallon.
Yeah, I remember that.
People are thinking scary. That's going to happen this time, but that's hearsay right now. We'll see what happens. But what I'm trying to say is the living wage. When you're hearing those debates, like people should make $10 if this happens, you're out of touch with the people that voted you in. And the people that voted you in, I'm sorry, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, on both sides. Because what's also interesting is that you have almost a reversal of values between parties. And I know we've mentioned this before as well, but in a lot of ways, things that used to be considered staunchly Democrat or Republic are now the opposite. It used to be that conservatives were kind of like the hawks of war, and the Democrats were like peace, peace, love, love. Now, when you look at the past few decades of candidates, who's also started more wars, it seems like it's kind of shifted more towards Democratic Party. I'm not saying all of them, so please don't bite my head off. It's a generalization, but
I think a lot of us are brainwashed, and this could be a whole topic. I think it's almost like the Matrix. We're meant to believe we have a choice in the matter, and I think a lot of times we don't realize that the two-party system is one and the same. I think a lot of their ideologies seem drastically different, but at the end of the day, they're put in office by these large interest groups, these businesses. They make promises to these businesses.
They win based largely on their campaign funds.
And then afterwards, they have to make good with their promises, or they're not going to win re-election. All their other constituents won't win election in the midterms in 2 years. So there's a lot that goes into it. And
did you watch House of Cards?
No, I haven't. I heard it's a really awesome show, but
it is. And I stopped after the whole thing with Spacey kind of came out, because it's I didn't want to support it, but at the same time, it's such a good show that I kind of want to watch the rest of it, because it's.
And that's messed up. A story, a fictional character, but it's real life persona ruins the show.
Exactly. But the thing about the show that I really find fascinating is how much of the stuff that we were like, that can't possibly be what goes on. And yet over the past 10 years, we've seen a lot of it go on.
Well, You know what's it's screwed up, and this is a subtopic of a topic of a topic. Can you imagine if there was social media, cameras, just all the other technology we have nowadays, a cell phone with a camera, back during like the Kennedy years or the Reagan years. Now we put these people on a pedestal. You know, when you think of Reagan as a conservative, you're thinking of like incredible. When you're thinking of Kennedy as a liberal, you're like, that's the guy. Can you imagine if we had like these cameras behind the doors like we have during these administrations, you know, presently? Would we look at them the same? Would they have the same flubs? Would they be as, you know, flawed as our current
You
candidates?
saw the damage that was done just from the whole Watergate scandal back with Nixon.
But like I'm saying, there's so much more to it though, because we knew less. We knew less back then.
That was just an audio recording.
Yes. We knew so much less back then than we know now. Like we know everything now. We know every whisper. You know,
and there are benefits to that in some ways, like the opioid crisis. We're now able to stop people from doctor hunting as much because there's a record of things. So, you know, there are also a lot of advances and good things that have come from it, but we have to find a way to not let it run out of control.
Mm-hmm. So, like with that topic, before we get too lost in it, my opinion still stays. I think we need to think smarter about our people. People need to have a living wage. And I understand. I'm reading some of the comments. People are agreeing. Some are kind of disagreeing. You know, okay. There's a comment. There's a comment out here on the. I think some people's concern with raising the minimum wage is that businesses will recoup the cost by raising their rates. I also think large corporations can handle this, but it can cripple small businesses. You know, I do understand that. That is a concern, but you really having someone make like, you know, the minimum wage in New York, which is what, 10 something an hour.
I don't even know.
And you think about any minor bill you pay, like the rent costs and everything. Like if you're not, what are you really doing for the person? I don't want to say it's modern day slavery, but if you have to work 2 or 3 jobs, you have to work like 70-hour or 80-hour weeks or 2 jobs. I mean, what are you really paying the person? Because at the end of the day, you know, it's unfortunate, but you know, you're working for the state and whatnot, and you're getting paid unfair wages, or like corporations like McDonald's and Walmart paying their employees. I mean, I don't know if you've ever worked. I've worked freight.
I worked at Sam's Club for 3 weeks.
I've worked in retail in like their freight room and stocking shelves. That is back-breaking labor.
Mm-hmm. The amount of injuries that are treated on a daily basis in the local clinics, like in Middletown Medical when I worked there, the amount of people we came in from working in the factories in town with simple like lacerations or stress injuries or fractures, things like that. There's a lot of them that get injured doing that factory type work. And
even if it's not an injury, like, it's constant. So over time, you're going to have problems with your back. You're going to have problems with your knees. You're going to have problems with your shoulders. And listen, you chose that. But at the same time, am I telling people that they should be like lining their pockets with silver and gold? No. But should it be livable? Like if you're working full time, this is your full-time job, and you have to like kill yourself with doubles and other jobs. That's not what, I don't think that's what our founding fathers of America should have really like, you know, been. I mean, I know their ideology, that's not what we go for, but that's not what our vision of America should be, is people like working 3 jobs. Because I know when you heard about people like crossing the border and their idea of what America is, when I speak to some people that are immigrants, they're shocked at what it actually is. Like people work their ass off here.
Yeah, and that is true. But I will say, like, you know, like my brother-in-law is from Cuba. He's probably one of the most patriotic guys I'll ever meet. And it's because of what he came from and the extreme opposite end of like the worst part of socialism and communism that you can have, like in modern day, to coming over here. Like this is such a huge, so like we have to not be, we can't lose sight of that. But at the same time, I think that it's a tightrope. It really is.
Yeah.
Because people need to really just take responsibility for that.
Yeah. So we're gonna end on that topic, and
Sorry,
don't hate us, people. Don't hate us.
Um,
In a couple minutes, we're going to have our special guest on for this evening. Great friend of mine, pretty cool guy, Maurice Williams. He runs About That Action podcast. Talented guy. We're going to have him on in a few minutes. But we just got a few more things to do. So Black History Month. I want to, we're going to wrap this month up with a bang, and we're going to talk about Richard Pryor. I think, to me, he's one of the best comedians to ever live.
Dude,
when you think of a comedian, we always say that a lot of these comedians have like sadness. Now, Richard Pryor was born in crazy circumstances. Okay. His art reflected his life. Hard, vulgar, sensitive, and hilarious. I mean, he was molested at age 6. He was abandoned by his mother, a sex worker, at 10.
He had a rough life, man.
And was raised in his grandmother's brothel. Okay, so he's been through a lot. Now, throughout his life, people remember him for his drug addiction. They remember him from his they remember him from his illness, okay, drug addiction, but they also remember him for his comedy. The people like Eddie Murphy, Bernie Mac, Dave Chappelle. Would we really have them if there wasn't a Richard Pryor? I mean, maybe, but a lot of their stuff. I mean, a lot of the stuff that Richard Pryor talked about, the content. He talked about stuff that showed the reflection of America's racial problem. I mean, I can't say the word, but I'm just going to say Blacks and the Police was a major segment that he did that was hilarious. And how he basically, there's a whole segment where he was talking about going into the gun shops, and he said, why are all the targets black? And what we're seeing now is how relevant his comedy was to today's society. So I think people need to really look back on some of the stuff from Richard Pryor. We could look it up on YouTube. Such a talented guy, Blazing Saddles, so many great classic movies. What was
the name of that movie where like he played like a kid embodied in the where it was like where the switch ones where they have the adult and the child switch places?
I'm not positive. I think it's, I don't want to misquote it, but I think he's one of the best comedies out there. But my whole thing is he's so relevant, and that's what I think a true artist is. When you see him perform, nowhere is he really he's giving you it all. He's letting you know how he feels and the reflection of what he's experienced. So I think that's very important, because I think too many people are not, they're not genuine. When I see certain artists, I don't feel like they're genuine.
No, it's part of it. Yes, it's a performance, but I think two other comics that I am actually, one who I previously couldn't stand. I always laughed at his jokes, but at the same time, I didn't like him. Yet lately, he's just saying a lot of really rational stuff. At least according to what I think is Bill Maher. Like, I used to hate that guy. I used to hate him, and yet now I listen to him and I'm like, got a point. You got a point. But even more than him, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He basically got, eaten up by the whole media thing. What was it, like 10 years ago? Or I'm not sure how long now. But, and he took a step back from the industry and everything and stuck firm to what he wants. And now he's back. And I don't know if you've heard any of his recent stuff, but it's very bold, a lot like Pryor was back at that time.
Yeah. Just think about it, though. Think about Pryor during the time, saying the stuff he was saying. Was there anyone out there really saying what he was saying at that time? I don't think so. Right. You know what I mean? That's what it is. He was revolutionary as a comic. And I think, he's a fine example of Black excellence and someone that, we should really like uplift and remember. And like I said, he didn't have the easiest life. And
most comics
he came, it wasn't like the silver spoon, but he came from a harsh life and he turned it around to something great. And he was imperfect. You know, like when a lot of times when we talk about people, and this is the same thing that I said, imagine if we had audio recordings and cameras with old presidents from the early days, what we would find out about them. You know, we know from Richard Pryor, even his own biographies and the stuff that he said, that he was imperfect. You know, he struggled with, like I said, he struggled with drug addiction. He struggled with, you know, fidelity and, you know, being with one woman and stuff like that.
These are human issues. They're not.
These are human issues. Yes.
These are not okay to do, but there are things that everybody struggles with on some level in certain groups, or well, not everybody, but most people have struggles in some level with those things.
So like we're going to go on to the next topic. And the main thing here is we really wanted to do it, and we wanted to fit this into our guest tonight, is the idea of doing it and not just saying it, and the ability just do it, like the Nike, and also taking constructive criticism. There's so many people that will benefit, whether you're in the entertainment industry or starting a business, with the idea of just going out there and taking that risk and doing it, because so many people, they're afraid. They're afraid of, what if I fail? What if I get embarrassed? I struggle
with that myself. I mean,
we all do. But like, for example, every day or every Thursday when we start this podcast, it's live. We can, you know, people might not like the things we say. People might not be watching. And there's times I look at the views, or I'm looking at the likes and comments. I'm like, man, what am I doing? This is my Thursday fucking night. What am I doing here? And that's what goes through my mind. Like, am I wasting my time? But I try to get back that I'm having fun with it.
Conversation, because if I look at that, I look at the comments, but one thing that's good about my computer, for some reason, I can't see the number of viewers.
Probably because I'm publishing the live, but I'm saying, like, these are the self-doubts that you feel. But the thing that's really important is going forth and just doing it. And that's the same thing, like the first time you make a film. Oh, am I going to fail at this? Or,
well, you remember what I said to you when you called me to give me the position. I said, you know, for DP, like director of photography, you know, I haven't done that before, right? You're like, yeah, I like your stuff. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Like, sometimes that's all it takes is a little bit of push.
And sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, sometimes we're grateful enough to get that push. But there's been so many times that you're not going to get that push. So if you don't, you know, you have your dreams and aspirations, things that you want to achieve in life, sometimes you got to motivate yourself, and you got to figure out a way to say, is this making me happy? Do I want to do this? And do it. And it sounds so preachy, but there's so many people I know that are talented, that they're sitting on like major ideas, book concepts, albums, and they're just like, they're waiting for the right, like the stars to align the right way to do it. You don't know how many people I talk to, musicians who are like, yeah, man, I'm just saving up for studio time and this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, there is major celebrity musicians now, rappers, R&B artists, rockers, whatever. And they're making it off of their phone. There is ways to do things off your phone now. You know, I'm sure if you saved up for a week, you can buy a decent mic or program. But that's what I'm saying. It's just about
photos online. How many of my photos do you think are from my big camera, my medium-sized one, or my cell phone? You're not going to know because I don't write it.
Exactly. And a lot of people out there, they're stuck on the idea. It's like the idea of branding. My music won't be good enough until I'm in a recording studio spending, you know, $150 an hour. Or the idea that I can't make a movie until I get, like, for example, I spoke to a few people, just sorry if I'm ranting, but I spoke to a few people who were like, listen, I want you to be involved with my movie, and we're currently raising funds. And I just want to let you know, I want you involved. It's like, oh, cool. So, you know, when's the plan? It's like, as soon as we reach like 450,000, we'll get ready to schedule it. And, you know, that's nothing in the movie industry, but if you're waiting for a financial obstacle like that to get towards, chances are you're reaching for something that's not going to happen. Not saying it's not going to happen. I don't want to shoot your dreams down, but think of things like if you can't do this until you reach like a millionaire. I mean, come on, you got to give yourself smaller steps to get to your goals.
And there are certain realities. There are certain things like money makes money. Like look, I get it. Like when you get into any field that's creative, where you're the entrepreneur, where you're the one who's responsible for it, you have to fund all those things that other people get to use as an employee of the company. So me as a photographer, I can't just go and take equipment off the shelf and say thanks and I'll check it back in this afternoon. I got to go buy it or I got to rent it, and then I got to get insurance on it, which I need to renew. And you have all of this stuff that you can do if you just really think outside the box. Like, look at stuff that you pay on a regular basis, $100 for. You can make a lot of that just by tinkering around with a roll of duct tape, a couple plastic boxes, things like that. Like, I just looked at how to make a humidifier for a room by taking an ultrasonic little vibration thing that goes in water in a fish tank, and a couple of other pieces. You can make an entire room humidifier.
What is this vibration thing?
It's an ultrasonic water.
I'm just fucking with you.
Not that kind. Not a bullet.
All right, so I don't want to go too deep in this topic because I'm pretty sure Maurice will have a ton of stuff to enlighten us about, because this is what he does. His show is primarily on people, go-getters, people that really push themselves to follow their dreams.
I do want to say one more thing before we bring him on. Is somebody brought up a really good point to me the other day, because I was having a conversation about this. Because, like I said, like I struggle a lot of times with knowing that I am capable of doing something, getting ready to do it, getting excited, getting to the verge of it, and being like, oh, maybe, like whatever. I'm really taking the time to look at where that's coming from. And sometimes it's not a pleasant process to look through, because you got to look at what you're actually worried about, what scares you, what doesn't. But until you do that, you're going to keep repeating the same thing over and over and over. You have to look at why you're doing it. And then the guy said you have to show yourself a little bit of freaking compassion, because you're doing these things that seem horrible, like in the long run for your career or whatever, procrastinating, things like that, which they are. But why are you doing them? And perhaps it's doing it from a place of well-being. Like, you're doing it to protect yourself from something, whatever it is. And knowing that it's coming from a good place, but it's ill-informed and it doesn't go where you need to go. It ends up going. So you need to look at what's going on and seek help if you need to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And to add to that, before we put the guest on, is the idea of criticism. There's such thing as constructive criticism, but there's also such thing as people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, who are giving you the total wrong advice and leading you to a path to nowhere. Now, let that be known out there, listeners. There are people who really do not know what the fuck they're talking about, who are leading you.
Coaches.
They're coaching you the wrong direction.
There's a lot of great coaches, though.
So know the person who's talking to you and giving you advice and saying, take it with a grain of salt sometimes, because you don't know how many times I was told you shouldn't do that, or wait a few more years to start a film festival. Maybe you shouldn't write an autobiography. Just listen. Follow your heart. If someone's an expert in the field, that's a different story.
And if the person telling you that is a little voice inside your head that usually causes you to go, find a way to shut it the hell up.
Remember, envy sometimes is the reason why you're getting criticism. So we're going to jump into this topic. I think he has a lot of insight on this topic. So without any further ado, I'd like you guys to meet my good pal, Maurice Williams. How are you?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, hang on a second. Hang on.
Just gotta unmute him.
There you go. What's good, brother?
How are you?
Hey, man. Nice to meet you.
I'm good, man. How you doing, man? I like this, man. Something different.
Hey. Yeah, so we really wanted to have you on the show tonight because I think that you have a really important message and platform that you started. You want to just tell us a little bit about your podcast that you do about that action?
Yeah, basically it's about that action. I'm basically speaking to those that want to take their life to the next level. I mean, we all get We all get dealt different cards, right? But it's what we do with those cards that gonna have us push us to the next level. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that's wishing and wishing things to happen. But in the first you think it, and then the second is you take action to make it happen.
Yeah. See, that's important. Like when you had me on your show a few months back, I remember I was looking at a lot of the artists and other business people you had on your show, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of variety here. And it's all these people who have like kind of like they dreamed big, but they made it happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for everybody. It's inspiring.
Most definitely. I mean, I've had artists I have people from artists to former gang members to people that's CEOs that been in jail that did a lot of things that happened in their past, but we got to understand our past don't define our future. But one thing they do have in common, is they took action with their life, man. They take them steps.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
that's awesome.
It's it's very relevant. Like I was actually just speaking to another friend of mine today, and like, we were talking about some of our work experiences and like things that like we want to do, and just listening to the struggles that she went through just working through her career. Yet the fact that she's at where she's at, it's like, bravo.
Yeah. So what was it that made?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was going to ask you what was it that really made you start a podcast or start this type of podcast?
I mean, for me right now sometimes I cringe at the word podcast because I feel like everybody's just using it. But for me, it's about building a brand, right? A brand that's help the average person, can help them get unstuck. So the overall idea for me, the bigger picture is give them information to help people get unstuck to take action with their life.
Yeah. You know what I find? I find myself.
That was a brand that. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Is somebody rewatching a video? Sorry.
I don't know.
You doing it again, Stefan? But I find myself a lot of times people ask like, why did you start a podcast? And they would ask me. And one of the things is I feel like it inspires myself to do it. When I speak to other artists or other people that have a platform like yourself, it makes me want to like do better or, ask a better question.
I love learning about new people. I like finding out like I haven't met you yet. Like, so this is the first time we're speaking. I like learning about people and seeing who they are and like just getting a chance to talk to them. Just celebrate who you are, celebrate who I am, everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's my whole notion of even coming up with something like that. Because like I said, we all dealt different cards and what we do with that is going to determine what happened. It was one thing you were saying I was watching before I came on about how do you keep the momentum and keep the motivation. That motivation, the motivation is just a spark. That spark is not gonna last for how many years you're gonna have to do this for. But I think the biggest things, and it don't matter if you have 1 follower, 2 followers, 10, 15, 20, it's going to be consistency is going to take it to the next level 100 times. Because I will come back to see a person I know he's putting out a weekly video. I know I can count on him versus somebody that's maybe good, but he dropped random videos throughout the year. No, I don't need that. Again, I mean, I don't need that. I need somebody I know I can consistently count on regardless of the fact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing too, is the consistency. When doing a show like this, I had a lot of conversation with Stefan because at times you're like, man, what are we going to talk about this week? And so we kept it to a spear of doing current events because we wanted to keep it relevant, keep it honest with the audience. But it's always how often we want to do this. How often do we want to speak to the public? Are people going to get like bored of us? How do you, with your show, really like get an audience to, keep them updated without burning yourself out
and build up your viewership and all that?
I think for me, I do mine's, and I'm right now for the interviews I'm doing mine's. I'm doing like 2 a month. And I think a lot of times people are inspired by stories. The reason why you make movies, the reason why they make books, people are inspired about stories and an underdog having nothing and going through the fire to get to where they are. Because I think we all can kind of relate to that. So I do it I try to get two in a month, and I feel like the stories, I try to get a little backstory on them, so kind of could connect with them, and then see how the steps and the guidelines they use to take their life to the next level. And with that, with connecting with other people, they like when I did with Charles, his audience, get interested in me. Oh, okay, let me see what this is about. Oh, then they might want to click on my other one. Oh, okay, I see that. And then that's what's about, tapping in with different audience, networking, like what we're doing right now.
Is building a community.
All that helps, and just I can't stress being consistent. Like I know there are times when you feel like I heard what you said. Sometimes I feel like shit. What the hell I'm doing now? I ain't getting paid for this. But I think at the end, but I think at the end of the day, there's something to say for you being consistent. And who knows? It's like that like a picture I saw. The person keeps shoveling. It's diamonds on the other side, and he turns around right before he cracked through to get his reward. I mean, do you want to be that guy? You know what I mean? So we gotta understand being consistent is important and powerful.
I feel like the doing podcasts, I call them conversations. This is an exchange between us. Get it? Thursday exchange. But the idea is, like, to me, it's a form of therapy. You're just kind of sitting back, having a casual conversation with friends, and getting it in, and an audience getting a different perspective. Yeah, but to me, it was that. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to start it, to really, like you said, you get to know everybody's story in a way, and how they are doing what they do. And how do you choose what guests you want to have on your show? Because I do it for a variety of reasons. I'm just curious of why do you choose the people you choose?
I think they got to inspire me. Like, that's the most importantly. They got to inspire me for it. I feel like everybody I've put on the show at some point in time inspired me. Like, I chose you because I remember a time on a bus with you that you were sitting there writing the play, and you told me you was going to do it. So I sit back for a few years. We go our separate ways. I sit back, and I'm able to. We keep in contact here and there, but I'm watching. And that's another thing. You don't know who's watching you. Even though they might not hit you up. They may not say anything. They may not comment, but you don't know who's watching you. So I sat back. I watch you. I see this movie coming. I see this. I see you doing this. I'm like, oh man. And like I said, the consistency. And you doing what you got to do, and it just got to inspire me. Say that again.
It's a cumulative effort too, because like even I've started to notice, like, like when I've said this before, but like when I first started with Facebook, I just added a crap ton of friends, like, and I didn't know half the people. I just wanted more and more people to see my photography work. I didn't know anything about I don't even know if there was a business page at the very start of it, or if that came a little bit after. Regardless. Yeah. I have people on my list that I forget are even there. I'm like, oh, wait, nice to meet you. Who are you? She's like, you're on my friend list. I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. Who are you? And so you don't, like you said, you don't know who's watching. But I've started hearing in other conversations about other topics, they're like, oh, yeah, we see your pictures all the time. I'm like, you do?
People pay attention. Yeah. They're paying attention more than you think they are.
Mm-hmm. This goes back to the other thing we were talking about right before we brought Maurice on, is the idea that sometimes people, aren't always there to support you. They're there to criticize. They're there to hate. They might be your friend, but sometimes your friends don't want the best for you. We talk about this, and that's not a negative thing. Push harder, because people, like I said, sometimes people's constructive criticism is good, but if they're not give it to you
coming from a paradigm that doesn't match your own.
Mm-hmm. And, it's always interesting to have someone that's doing the same thing. But I'm really curious, what do you find to be the most challenging aspect of doing a show like this?
I think what you said, sometimes you feel like there's no support. But I think the biggest thing is what's that word I'm looking for? That I think everybody's this reality that was brought up, that the things you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to get up. You're supposed to go to school. You're supposed to graduate from college. You're supposed to get a job. You're supposed to stay there for 4. So that's what you're supposed to do. So when you kind of move outside the box a little bit, oh dang, that's not gonna work. It's not safe.
It's one of the worst
And
words to put between anything. Supposed.
it's not safe. So they just, I don't think that they you just said something before. I don't know that they don't want you to be successful. I think they do, but they want to protect you so much that they sometimes it hinders their growth, and it is also trying. Eventually, it's going to hinder your growth as well. We're caught in this box that like I said, we're supposed to do this, but this cookie cutter way, and it's for me, it's not like that no more, man. I'm my whole biggest thing is about I want to live life on my terms, man. I just want to live life on my terms, man. And money is cool. Definitely, I would like to have that money because one thing about money, it affords me time. I buy back my time. I don't have to go to this job if I don't really want to. If I don't want to, everything I could be doing, it'll be for the betterment of myself and the betterment of my goals. And right now, I'm getting older. I don't have no time for the extra stuff. I'm gonna live life on my terms, whether you like it. You like it. If you don't, you don't. I'm gonna do what makes me happy, and that's that.
Yeah, I definitely totally agree with that. There was something that you posted recently that I thought was, I think people need to know. But you are a very giving person. I just saw recently you were going out in the community and you were doing handouts of food and blankets and stuff like that. You want to tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's been my goal for a minute. I always kept pushing it off and whatever. But this time I got together with some people I work with, and we did like a blanket drive in Washington, the DMV area, Washington D.C., Maryland. And we went out there to the places where they at, passed out blankets. I had some water, had a couple snacks, and just passed them off. I'm gonna do a whole lot more in the near future. That's something I really, really want to get involved with because we don't know what people. I'm saying, say it again.
Sorry, I didn't. There was a lag. Go ahead, finish what you're saying.
Oh no, so I said I want to do some more stuff. I'm gonna do some more stuff for the community we're helping. I definitely want to get more involved in that. That's definitely a good one for me.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I think especially with your following now, and hopefully people watching this will know, because doing stuff like that as an artist, just that you're getting awareness, and I hope that it helps, with funding to do your things even on a bigger level in the future. That's so sweet.
What I was going to say is, have you heard of the warming stations?
Warming stations? No. What's that?
So most towns around here, I know, in the Hudson Valley, there's a lot of them, but it's nationwide, I'm sure. They may have a different name, but they're basically temporary overnight shelters during the wintertime for homeless. And they're almost always looking for volunteers. And my mom and I did that for a while a few years ago, where you basically go in, you serve the food for dinner, stay overnight, make sure everybody kind of they don't bring any drugs or alcohol in the door, give them a box of supplies. In the morning, you feed them breakfast, send them on their way. And it gives them a place to stay without freezing to death outside. And the gratitude, because you see people in there who yesterday they may have been top of their game, and today they're homeless.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing, because some of them, you gotta think some of them do want to stay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some of them, no matter how many times you take them out, you get them help. Some of them do have families, and some of them just want to stay. But so even in that process, the ones that just still want to stay out there, I still want to show that you still have people out there that do care, still care about y'all, love y'all, and want to do the best thing, want to help you the best way we can help you.
I think a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of Americans need to we were talking a lot about finances earlier in the conversation. I think a lot of people don't realize that they're one or two paychecks out of possibly being in that situation of being on the streets.
A single car repair.
They're talking about, a majority of Americans don't have more than a few $100s in their bank account. You're a few bills behind. What do you think is going to happen? So we have to all open our hearts to do stuff like this. And it's really amazing that, you chose to do something like this. And I can't wait to see what else you're doing.
Yeah, keep us informed. I'd love to help you out with it if you can.
What?
Oh man, say that definitely. I'm gonna edit you in the chat.
So, what do you think you wish you would have known in the beginning of starting your podcast that you know now that you would have wished you knew then?
How much? It's a lot of work. You got to be everybody. I mean, you got. Sometimes I do remote now, but I used to do the physical. You got to be the videographer. You got to be the editor. You got to be you got to be the lightning. You got to do a lot of things, and a lot of times, you got to be everything, and also I feel like you're spending a lot of money. At least for me, trying to figure out what you need and what you don't need. And then as you start getting, you get a bulk of stuff. You start, I don't need this. I don't need that. I don't need that. Then you start to minimize it. But just spending a lot of money, and you have to be a lot. Yeah, you definitely have to be a lot, man.
I think a lot of people don't realize that doing any type of show that you're dedicating, especially on a weekly basis, takes a lot of work. Now, as people might think this is a really casual conversation, which it is, we have to do a lot of research because a lot of times we might not know the guest.
We have a pre-rehearsal every single time we do the show.
We want to make sure that, we're actually informed about a majority. I might have a flub here and there saying some shit that don't make sense, but there's a lot of work that goes into doing any sort of show and researching your guest. And a lot of work. So we know what it's like. So we're going to give you kudos.
Listen.
Yeah. Because there's some days where the fact is you got 10 other things you got to do before the thing even starts. And that's not even including getting everything hooked up your computer. And you're just like, I don't want to do it today, but you got to do it.
Right. I've been real good with the research. One thing about social media, it makes it a lot easier. I can imagine doing research maybe 20, 30 years ago, how they did it, because you really got to be out there talking to their friends.
Decimal system.
I don't have to do that now. I can go on their social media and get, they said pictures worth 1,000 words, so I can get as much information just from their social media, and I tend to do that.
So what advice would you give somebody that wants to pursue a career, possibly a public speaking, podcasting, like?
Shit, go do it, man. Don't let nobody tell you. Don't let nobody stop you from doing anything you don't want to do in this world, man. Like, I never wanted to be a part of the rat race and just waking up and going through the motions. Try to live life on your terms. Be good to people. Be consistent. Be professional. And one thing I'm learning now is getting my legal stuff in order, because now I feel like I got my brand, I got my merch, I got my logo, I got certain things that I want to have in place, because I'm already speaking everything that's happening right now into existence. I already see my brand bigger than what it is. So with that being said, I want to have all the legal parts in order. I don't want to build my brand to this level for 5 years when it start to happen that somebody feel like they could just take the logo or take the name and then I gotta switch. I gotta switch my name.
Outsourcing that or no?
Huh?
Are you
right now? Say that again.
The legal part. Are you outsourcing it, or are you doing all that on your own?
No. I'm definitely going to outsource that. I have a lawyer. I already had a lawyer anyway, but I definitely want to get that in order, because I don't want all this work I'm putting into this. Same with I'm putting a lot of work in this, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of other stuff. I'm gonna do my there's a lot of stuff I'm gonna get involved with. Like I said, I got the merch, I got the podcast. I'm gonna be doing some I got some public speaking, little things coming up, but everything is gonna be gradually getting to where it got to get. I'm gonna do more YouTube stuff. I'm gonna do a lot of things, and I just want everything to be in order. So when that day come, there's I ain't losing money. I ain't getting sued. Nobody can't just steal my brand or steal my name. That would hurt, because this I feel like this is like my baby right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this is like my baby.
Yeah,
buy backup names that are similar on your GoDaddy or whatever server you're using for websites. That way, if you ever have to do whatever, change it around, get a new name, you can just hop it from one to the other.
Absolutely. You know what though? It's that when he just said that last statement, it's his baby. That's the way I feel about everything I get involved with. Like when I do a film festival, and I've been told by many people,
wedding,
no, just hear this out. I've been told by many people, in order to make some money, there's ways to cut corners. I've been told, like, listen, you can make this happen and put a little more money in your pocket, but it might take away the quality of the experience. But at the end of the day, would you take away the quality of your baby? No, you want the best for it. You want it, to put the time, effort. so everybody can have the best experience. And I feel like that's amazing. That's an amazing thing that you put your dream and your aspiration and what you're doing, your business, as something so important to you. Because I remember we go back a few years when we first started. You know, we worked a job together. I thought it was a good job at the time. I was in my early 20s. I'm like, listen, I felt good about myself, but it wasn't for me. And I felt at the time I felt terrible, but I felt like it was important for me to get my mind right to go for what I wanted to do, because at the time I thought the job was affecting me. But it's amazing that you're able to balance doing your 9 to 5. And this is the excuse that I get from so many other artists and business people, is they don't have time to focus on their craft.
It's hard
because they work a 9 to 5. But you are an example of someone that's able to balance both.
Listen, you got to understand, like, you know, they always say you got the same 24 hours as Beyonce. That's what they always say. But I look at that like it's so many. Now I know, because I mean, you hear that statement all the time, which is true. One thing, I just got a new iPhone, right? This is my first time having an iPhone. So one thing that it does, it whoever knows, it calculates how many times your ass is on social media, right? And when I look,
I try to ignore that.
It calculate. One time it said I did like 8 hours in total for a week. So if you got 8 hours time of a week to be going through social media, you have 8 hours of your time to work on your craft. Like, we don't know that is those little.
Now, is that your social media time or your screen time?
Screen time. No, this says my social media.
Okay.
But even screen time. If I'm not doing nothing productive with my phone, if I'm not on it doing something productive, then what am I doing then? We have I think we have the time, but where you putting your time at?
It's the opiate of the masses.
I find myself that too. There's so many things, and that's another thing too, is distractions. There's a lot of things out there that distract us all. Like, I'm the worst. Like, I feel like I put goals in my head, and I hear a lot of people on videos I watch that say, listen, you need to put yourself, if you're a writer, you need to sit down and you need to write every single day a little journal, or you need to. But I find myself, as soon as I get on YouTube or something, I'm sitting there scrolling through videos. I'm on Instagram swiping down, and I'm just like the rest of them, like, damn, procrastinating. And
that's my biggest enemy, is procrastinating. Like, I have to force myself not to do it, because for whatever reason it may be, like, I have a tendency to do that, and it gets away from you if you're not careful.
But you know what to do. That's what social media is for, to have you aimlessly strolling. It's just that's all it wants you to do, to get your attention. As soon as you type something in Google, everything pop on your social media. It's just, that's why sometimes you got to put it down and get to your work. Remember, you got to understand, this is your life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they always say choose your heart. Either you could work hard and chase your dream, because that's my goal. Either I'm gonna make it, or I'm gonna just die trying. But it's not an option for me to sit back and just let life happen. So
do you ever
I'm gonna die. Say that again.
Do you ever do like a media fast where you basically lock away your phone and your computers and all that shit? And you say, like, I ain't doing this. If you need me, this is the number you can contact me after an emergency. Otherwise, leave me alone. You
know what? It's a double-ended sword, though. It is.
Just doing it for a couple days.
All of us right now, we're sitting here. We're utilizing social media to the best of them. We are live on.
We are liking Facebook
on multiple pages. Yeah, no, like I definitely understand it. You know, there is distractions out there, but like, as far as my films and my festival and About That Action podcast, we're using it to, I know you're using it to share it out there. And that goes into my next question. What resources do you use that have helped you along this way? Whether that's getting guests or promoting.
Word of
platform do you use?
Guests, word of mouth. I use guests. Word of mouth has been the best thing. I'm right now. I'm doing Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. That's basically it. And word of mouth has been helped me a lot. And being consistent, man. That's been the best thing. And creating my brand. So when you go to my page, my thumbnail, my banner is good. My thumbnails is good. The way I set things up. So That's been good, and having good quality guests and things I'm doing with that. But word of mouth, I can say has been the best. My thing has been steadily climbing, and like I said, I'm getting involved. And another thing, everywhere I go, I try to keep like I said, I did the merch thing. No, every day I'm outside, I have a piece of my merch on. Every single day. I said I'm gonna do that every day. I don't care if it's a sweater, a hat, a scarf. Every day I'm gonna be a walking brand.
Now you got to get other people to wear your merch too. You got to get other people figures. You got to get like the local. When you do an event, when you're doing some of those speaking engagements, you got to throw them in a T-shirt or sweater or hoodie or hat.
That's the plan. This thing is work. It ain't man. This thing
having a sticker on the side of your car makes a big difference sometimes. Because people are like, I didn't know you.
It's tough. It's tough. Because you know what I mean. People think it's as simple as handing someone something and they're going to wear it. It's a lot of dedication to really brand yourself and stick to it and believe in yourself.
That's coming up about being consistent. If you're not consistent, it's just not for you, because it may not come this year or next year. You may not see it for 2 years. You know what I mean? But you're gonna have to be consistent. The one thing I want to do when somebody look on my thing, whether it's 5 or 10 years, when they look back, they're gonna see, oh, he's consistent. He got 50, 60, 70 videos he doing. I can expect him here every Friday. You know what I mean?
And if not, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Right. That exactly.
Who are some of the people that like kind of influenced you, or like you find most influential to you, that kind of like either their supporters or just people that you look up to be like, man, I really like what this person's doing?
Right now, I love what Eric Thomas is doing. He a public speaker. He do a lot of stuff on. He got a road to success. I love what I don't know if y'all know Andy Frisella. He got the Real As F podcast going on. He good. He no nonsense, man. He Joe Rogan is good. Yep. Who else podcast ain't got like? I like Mike Tyson joint. What's the hot boxing?
Oh
I
yeah,
haven't listened to that one yet.
That's the one where he told T.I. or was it T.I. where it looked like what's his name was about to cry.
Was it?
Little Boozy. Yeah. Because he was talking about somebody's daughter, with the trans issues and stuff, and he said, "I think you're gay," or whatever like that. Yeah. So it was interesting.
It's another guy. Tom, I forgot his name, but I know he do the impact theory, which is really good. He speaks to some good guests that helps you want to push your life forward. And that's where I'm at, man. About
Lewis
just develop, huh?
Lewis House is another great one for that too.
I haven't checked him out.
I think it's important though. Like it's like any person that gets good in their craft, you almost have to study others. When I was getting on this, you were looking at other podcasters, other people who have made it big, and like, everybody knows Howard Stern, everybody knows Joe Rogan, or other, big podcasters like you meant. So it's important. It's like if you're a writer, you have to read books. I mean, and you could tell the ones that don't read, because it's kind of like they're uncultured and they're boring or whatever. So, we're still.
I mean, follow your own path.
Of course.
Definitely get the information, but definitely don't try to be a copy. But get the information, but just still try to blaze your own path,
and share what you find interesting with others. Like, I a lot of my interaction on Facebook, I will say, like I use Facebook a lot, but a lot of my interaction is literally just sharing stuff to Facebook and then intentionally not going on Facebook because I'll get stuck there. So anytime I find something interesting, I send it. I hope people don't get annoyed by it, but if it's cool, I'll send it.
Do you find yourself like censoring your beliefs and your? I mean, this is an honest question, because I find myself sometimes there's a thin line before you don't want to alienate certain viewers, but do you find it tough sometimes to like hold back your own opinion to situations?
It depends, because I don't know it depends, because my content I feel like it's universal as far as everybody want to develop and progress their life, but in this business it can be tricky, because you can say the wrong thing and then is on the internet forever.
Mhm.
Or even something you can say something like we could be talking. I can say something right now that's horrible, but it won't catch wind until I blow up 10 years later, and now you got to explain yourself.
What is
So
the new social
it's
issue?
it's
Well, that's what it is. Like right
It's
now,
hard.
Stefan and I have been doing these podcasts now this is the 9th episode. So we're still early on, but we do 2-hour episodes, okay?
We're just
That's
collecting data to screw
So
us.
so there's a lot of material already that we got to kind of like some guy in the future, if I ever make it big, is going to be like, Charles said this, if he's running for office 10 years from now, like I want to be, a senator someday. He said, Charles said this opposite opinion that year.
How many times have we
But
all,
I
myself
think
included,
that I think that we all evolving and we all growing. One thing I don't fault nobody for speaking from their heart.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
who you are today is not who you're gonna be 10 years from now. You're constantly changing, you're constantly growing. If you honest and you speak from your heart, I think people can respect that and you right your wrongs and you apologize and that's it.
Yeah. So this is kind of a fun question. Or what is one question? Because you do the same stuff we do, and I have a totally different answer. I'm sure Stefan has a totally different answer. What is one interview question, you really love asking, and why?
I think it's two. Like some of them, I like to know. Yeah, I like to know your upbringing, and I also like to know how you want your legacy, how you want to leave your legacy. You know what I mean? So one thing about upbringing, I just want to know the things that happened to make you who you are today. Because a lot of times we have so much stuff from our past or growing up as a child that affect us right now, and it affects our thought process, it affects the way we live and how we interact. Charles, you have your own situation. I read your book and certain things that you've been through. Stefan, I know you had your so, and I have my own. So those things that happened in the past affect us some way, shape, or form, whether we know or not. Affects us how we live today, and also how you want to be remembered. You know what I mean? Do you want to be remembered as an asshole? I'm thinking everybody want to be remembered as a good person, a person that gives and do stuff. So those are the two best things for me. I always like to ask.
I think it's interesting because like I always ask, it's so interesting because like I always ask how or like why did you what inspired you to do this or why did you begin this? Like I always want to know the inception of it, and in a way yours is kind of similar too, but you're getting more to the psyche of like maybe why you may have made those decisions. So that's interesting.
For me, I always want to know what was the biggest challenge that turned into a success, or sometimes the biggest challenge that didn't work out but led to a later on success, because it's like it says a lot about who people are and what they've overcome and completed. And a lot of times it's just you have to remind yourself of even what you've accomplished, and because it's easy to forget.
How do you feel about a lot of things that's going on right now? Is we're dealing in a time where I don't want to say it's censorship, but it's the idea of cancel culture. A person says the wrong thing, like we were just talking about a little bit ago. A person says the wrong thing, as opposed to them having an apology, a public apology. It's automatic ban, automatic. They're guilty. Take them off the airwaves. I mean, we're seeing a lot of this right now. There's the whole record label with T.I. and Tiny and everything about all allegations of stuff they may or may not have done, where they're trying to kind of destroy his own podcast and censor what he can say in the future. And it's happened with people. You might have a political view, or there's other people with political views out there who are getting fired from their jobs. What is your personal belief in like that type of thing?
I think, like I said, I think we all evolving. I don't agree with you're guilty before you're in it, before we even find, before you're guilty before you're innocent. You know what I mean? Like they don't give you a chance to explain. They don't give you a chance to even know that was you in the picture. They don't even before they know it's you. It could look like you're already guilty, and you're already trying to cancel you. I bet, truthfully, but what is cancel culture for real? Like I've seen
power.
people that they said cancel, huh?
It's power for people who don't feel like they have any.
Yeah. For me, it's just like I said, they all are guilty before proven, It's bullshit, bro. Like let the people get a chance to see if it's true first. First of all, let's see if it's real. Let's see if it happened. Let's see if it's true. Then we can talk about steps to that. But but understand when they point the finger, it comes right back at them, because whoever you trying to cancel, that thing will come right back out to you the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So be tread lightly on that when they want to cancel everybody, because you could be next.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So in this ever-growing world of like doing what we do here when we're interviewing people, Stefan and I, we come up with a ton of different ways to like kind of like continue to learn in order to stay relevant and stay on top of things. What do you find yourself kind of like almost like your routine to get better at what you're doing, like to evolve?
I mean, I'm always constantly reading. I'm always constantly staying in tune with what's going on in the culture, whether it's that's through social media, sometimes through these blogs. Sometimes I skim through it, read it, just stay what's up. Like I continue to read books. I continue to watch like some podcasts and stuff like that. So I'm continually in tune, continue educating myself. Like I said, whether it's social media, whether it's through books.
You never got to stop learning, people. Listen to that.
Yeah,
you're never too old.
You can't. Like, yeah,
100.
one of the things that like people always think that I'm a little weird about is they're like, so I love music. I wish I was able to play music. I'm not really able to. That's one area I'm not talented in. But I have a great appreciation for it. Yet I very rarely listen to music when I'm by myself, and people think I'm insane. They're like, "How do you not listen to music?" I'm like, "Because I'm listening to the talk programs." They're like, "Oh, what, politics?" I'm like, no, like podcasts, documentaries, anything that I can learn from, and like for me, that's fuel.
They're entertaining too. Like I'm not gonna lie with you, Stefan. I was one of those guys that would have been, if I'm driving in the car and you're listening to a podcast, chances are I'm slapping the shit out of you.
I used to complain. My dad did it with
I'd be like, yo, bro, turn this shit off. But I'm telling you, a totally different story. If I'm like in a waiting room, or I'm like, it's at nighttime and I don't want to watch what's on TV, you best believe I'm watching a podcast or I'm watching a show, especially if they have an intriguing topic of discussion. Yes. This topic this week that we're talking about is very relevant to anyone that wants to do something. We're talking about, basically go and do it. Stop saying you're going to do it, and just jump for it. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to have, this guest tonight, so that we can talk about this topic. But, at the same time, like I understand,
One piece of advice I can also give, because I've run into this myself sometimes, is there are some people who can almost get the same mental fix or, whatever it is, like reward by saying they're going to do something and getting the adulation beforehand, and like not on purpose, like they're not doing it just because they want to, but it can be a demotivator to actually finishing it. And I run into this sometimes myself. Like I'll say, I'm going to do this. And sometimes I'm just thinking out loud. But the problem is that sometimes I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, oh, now that I said it out loud and I put it out there, sometimes I don't want to do it anymore, whatever the case is. But there are some people who run through that, and I don't know where I was going with that. So on to the next one.
Anyway, people like that, they're afraid of the work. They're afraid of the work.
Not necessarily.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
I think too. I think. All right, what were you gonna say, Stefan?
No, I just said not necessarily. That's all.
About what?
So explain.
Being afraid of the work.
I think a lot of people are afraid of the work.
Oh, definitely, but it's not always that. There's a lot of times there's other things based on other issues in your life.
I think personally, a lot of people who say they're going to do stuff to a group setting, or even to their colleagues, their friends, their coworkers, they want those people to show interest. Yeah. They want cheerleaders to be like, that's true. Man, I want to see it. Yeah, show me, or But there's sometimes people that aren't going to give you that. So if you're not going to do it anyways, what's the point? Because I feel like a lot of people, they're looking for that, reassurance. Like, do you care? You know what I mean? Like, will you give a shit if I go and do this? That's personally, Trust me, I know a lot of people that like I was saying, like
we all want to feel
I'm-
validated.
I'm gonna, yeah, man, I got this, script and da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, like you should send it to me. I want to check it out.
Definitely.
Yeah, I just got a few things
Yeah.
I'm working on it. 6 months down the line, they're still working on it, and you realize it's probably doesn't exist. They're just trying to like scope the area to see how many people would be interested if they did write a script. That's maybe I'm speculating, but I feel like when enough people goes around, you kind of get what's going.
Sometimes you're also looking to see whether it's a valid idea, like to get another opinion. Like, I think this could be a good idea. Let me just put it out there and see what it sounds like. But that gets dangerous then, because you run into the trap of running on other people's opinions instead of doing what you want to do.
Well, I mean, talking about opinions, I mean, Maurice, how many have you ever received criticism for maybe your podcast? Whether someone's like, man, like you got to do this, or you got to try that. Is anybody ever given you any sort of criticism that you kind of maybe you couldn't take because you're like, man, like?
I mean, I try to take it, analyze it, see where it's coming from. It's coming from a place of want to see you grow, or it's coming from a place just want to be an asshole, or just want to stop you from doing what you want to do. So you take it, analyze it, you absorb the good stuff, get rid of the bad stuff, and keep it moving. Like don't dwell on it too much, because it's a million opinions out here.
Exactly. And that's what it is. A lot of people, like I said, I think they're afraid to start because of that criticism. Listen, I'm terrible with criticism. I really am. I was just telling a few people, like, when you put yourself out there with any type of public forum, you're going to get feedback. You're going to get bad reviews. Mm-hmm. People, sometimes they have nothing to do with you, but you got to kind of like take things and just move forward.
Definitely. If
you could turn back time, this is a fun question, and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell him?
That's what I would say.
18.
To me.
18. Don't be afraid, man. Just don't worry. Don't care about who's watching you. Don't care. Don't be afraid. Don't care what they say. Don't care about no opinions. Because a lot of times being 18 and 17, I always worry about what people like. I'm just now. Like a few years back, I just started getting comfortable with being who I am. You know what I mean? It's just there's so many opinions out there, and and some of the reasons why people don't move is because they're afraid. There are people watching them. What are they gonna say? What are they gonna do? Don't be afraid. You just go out there. You take that leap, regardless, because it's gonna be a million. And I don't care who it comes from. I don't care from your mother, your father, your aunt. Ever. Do not be afraid. Do not care about who's looking at you. You do what the best is for your life. So I would tell myself, do not be afraid. Do not worry about anybody's opinions. Don't worry about who's watching you. You just go ahead and go do what makes you happy.
I think that's such an important, top, statement right there, because so many people, I think they get put in really screwed up circumstances because it's almost like they get pushed to do things they don't want to do.
Yeah.
They get put in a routine they don't want to do because they're afraid of taking those risks. So,
hey, how many people have at a job that they hate? It's probably 90% of the world probably at a job. Maybe 99%. They said it's like 1% of the world is like,
That's the
listen, you all know me. When I start thinking too much, I start doing reckless ass shit, whether I can pay my bills or not. Maurice knows.
I've done, like, some of the best decisions I've made were some of the scariest, though. Like, I found out when I was in my senior year of college for a field that I don't even do anymore, which is culinary. Our teacher was talking about this program where you can go to Germany for a year for free. And I'm like, he goes, who wants to do that? I said, me. And my other friend raised his hand too. And everybody's like, what are you going to do? Cook Wiener Schnitzel? I'm like, if it gets me to Germany, hell yeah. And then when it came time to almost leave, I was terrified. Like, because you leave everything that you're familiar with. And like the amount of growth that came from that one decision, though, I'll be forever grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the best decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's exactly,
and that's what it is. But the thing about that, from that comment that your friend made, that could have easily deterred you from even wanting to go.
Oh, a lot of people didn't want to go because they're like, well, I'm like, screw that. It's a year for free.
But I wonder But I want to how many people actually really wanted to go, but because they was they had people going to say certain things, they didn't want to go. So there's a lot of that going on as well.
Me and my friends, they didn't apply.
See?
Yep.
And it's so many situations like that that's going on. And now a kid want to go do something. He excited. He got an idea. He go tell his friend or go tell his mother, and she, why you want to do that? Like brush it off, and then you like, oh well, I don't want to do it. Then you go ahead and your heart just dropped because you wanted to do it. You were so excited, and just for your mom or whoever thinking they're protecting you,
that's
right.
The hardest.
They shut you down without not even they shut you down without even knowing it. So sometimes we've got to be careful who we even tell our dreams and our goals to, because they got people killing dreams without even knowing it.
And they think they're doing it for the right reason. They think they're helping.
Right. And it might be in their eyes, but they don't understand what they're doing is making you a little bit more nervous, a little bit more scared to step out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel the same way with that. Yeah. There's a lot of sorry if I cut anyone off. There's a lot of comments coming in. People totally agreeing with the conversation tonight. Someone said that happened to me. I wanted to go to Japan as a teen, and I got talked out of going. I
got talked into staying at culinary school.
Someone else wrote, I tell everyone the best thing I ever did was leave New York. Went away where I didn't know anyone. I grew so much. Sometimes the goal is to do what you love, and sometimes you love what you do and never knew it. And people, there's a lot of comments tonight. People are totally agreeing. It's awesome. We're really resonating with the audience tonight. So
really relevant.
I think a lot of people hold us back, and I think our self-doubt holds us back, and the fear of what others may think. That was the first thing you said tonight is, fear of what others may think, Maurice. And I think it leaves with that. Like, people are afraid, they're worried, and they shouldn't be. I wish I would have known so much then that I know now.
I mean, it's the worst that could happen. You know what I mean? We all gotta. I guess we all got a death sentence at the end of this. None of us make it out alive, right? So it's like, go ahead, live your best life, man. I'm telling you.
Leading cause of death is birth.
Right. Like my biggest fear is definitely 60, not even 60, 70, 80, and have regret. Like, I'm so worried about that. That's my biggest thing, to be on my bed talking to my grands or whatever, and so many things I could have did that I didn't do. That has so much potential that I didn't reach it. I don't want to be like that. I lived like that for so many years, man. So many years. And like I said, I'm just for the last 6-7 years, I've really been getting comfortable with who I am. You take it, cool. You don't want to, cool. I'm cool with that. But I'm doing what I gotta do. I ain't hurting nobody. I'm up there trying to help people get unstuck, and I want to help people take action on their lives. And if you rock with me, cool. And if you don't, that's cool. Everything ain't for everybody. That's why I ain't trying to get I'd rather have 20 active followers versus 100 or 100,000 followers that ain't doing anything.
Exactly.
Cool.
And a lot of people were talking about this. Were buying likes and stuff, and they're not interacting. They're not commenting, and it's sad.
Yeah.
For what?
It really is.
I wouldn't even want to buy a like what purpose if you got? Are they even real? It's just numbers, right?
It's crazy.
Or so renting an airplane so you look like you're rich, then you go home and you go to your jalopy to drive back.
Fake it till you make it. That's what they call it. But Maurice, where can listeners that are watching tonight, because there's a bunch of people commenting and stuff, where can they connect with you online? Yeah,
definitely. You catch me on youtube.com/AboutThatActionTV. You catch me on my Instagram. I am About That Action. That's just one word. I got a lot more stuff coming out on my YouTube. Like I said, I got some public speaking things coming out. I'm gonna giving some tips and stuff on how to take action with your life, how to get unstuck, how to kill procrastination. I'm doing stuff with that. I got some relationship thing with my wife. Me and my wife gonna do some talks about that. I'm be doing some stuff in the community. I got a lot of stuff in the community. I'm getting involved in that I want to do. I'm putting more stuff on YouTube, definitely. So please stay tuned, man.
That's
and
awesome.
Where do you live now again?
Right now, I'm in the DMV area, DC.
Gotcha.
So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But
I go back and forth. I go back and forth to New York.
Yeah, a few people on here was like, Brooklyn, Bronx. People are asking.
Yeah. I'm originally from the Bronx. I got to rep Bronx. Yeah, I'm originally from the Bronx.
Definitely New York.
Okay, but thank you so much, Mo. It's been a pleasure. We'd love to have you on in the future. If you ever have any other, things coming up, always reach out.
Definitely
It's been fun.
Definitely. Same here, man. Y'all got that you got the festival coming out too, right? How that working out?
Yeah, man. Actually, tomorrow is the opening for films to be submitted. So, filmmakers out there, that have projects, submissions start tomorrow, and they're the cheapest when they first start. So, yeah, submit your films, and if you can't afford to submit films, reach out to me personally, and I will give you a waiver. So, free of charge. So if you know any documentary filmmakers or music, we're taking music videos this year, like we always do. So if you know any musicians out there that have music videos, submit, let them know. And it's gonna be awesome. This year is gonna be big. Entirely online, entirely free.
See what you're doing. Proud of y'all. Proud of you, bro. You came a long way, man. Like what you're doing, man. You keep doing. Y'all stay safe, stay blessed, man.
Thank you so much.
Brother. All right, man.
Have a good night. So, everybody, thank you guys for watching tonight.
Yep.
The upcoming week is going to be jam-packed. We're having a special show Monday night with the talented Stuart Thomas. He's a writer, director, actor. He's doing a lot of projects right now. Pretty awesome guy. Known him for years. And also this upcoming Thursday on the Thursday Exchange, we're having Ryan Kamaska of Arcam TV. He also runs a podcast show himself. Very, very outspoken, very intellectual. It's going to be a very awesome week ahead. And like we were just saying, the Catskill International Film Festival submissions are opened Friday, which is tomorrow, February 26th. So get your films out there. It's going to be an awesome ride, people. Thank you guys for commenting. Thank you guys for watching.
And definitely, before I say goodnight, if you have any suggestions also of somebody that you would like us to bring on, let us know. See if
Absolutely.
We can do it. And now, good night.
Good night, people.
Peace.